Check 1 2, check 1 2. Alrighty. Good morning, everybody. It is a Thursday. It's Thirsty Thursday, ladies and gentlemen, and I want to invite everybody to come drink the Kool-Aid.
Good morning,
That's
everybody.
the Crypto Kool-Aid here on the DYOR Media Network. My name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking, on this glorious, glorious day. I gotta tell you, you might have noticed why I'm saying glorious. Usually I wear some black shirt of some kind here, but today I'm rolling up the sleeves of my Cubs jersey. Yes, I'm wearing a Rod Beck jersey. If you know who Rod Beck is, I salute you. I salute you. Today is opening day in Major League Baseball. It is 29 degrees Fahrenheit here in Chicago. That's -1. -1 Celsius for the rest of you in the world. And it's not looking good out for the... not looking good for the weather here. It's not looking good at all. It is sunny here in Chicago. I'm in Chicago right now, just about 2 miles from the stadium, maybe not even. And there's a slight wind off the lake. And I got to tell you, when the wind comes off the lake, it starts up in like, I don't know, in Canada. And maybe the Sault Ste. Marie. And it comes south, down a lake, the tops of Lake Superior, Lake Huron, catches Lake Michigan, heads over Mackinac, comes down, all the way down, gets to Addison Street, where Addison Street meets the lakefront. Takes a right-hand turn and heads west to 1060 West Addison. Actually, that's not where it goes. It kind of comes down Waveland Avenue, where Waveland meets the lake. And then it turns right. And then it comes where center field is at Wrigley Field, where the great scoreboard is. And then the wind comes in the stadium and swirls around inside and takes whatever temperature is in there and takes 15 degrees off at Fahrenheit, like that. So if they say outside, it's 50 degrees, inside 35. Without a doubt. Every year, we freeze our asses right off. And this is the first year in 20 years or so, that the Hurley family is not season ticket holders. Nope. Not season ticket holders. Unbelievably. Oh, it's amazing. Oh, I have an echo. Why did someone tell me that? Testing. 1 2 1 2. Check 1 2 1 2. Testing 1 2 1 2. Oh, I have the mic on in both things. Great. Check 1 2. Check 1 2 1 2. Much better. I love those opening audio issues that I have. Love it so much. No, I don't. Well, this morning, ladies and gentlemen, once again, we're live on YouTube. You YouTubers, let's do your thing. Let's get the word out here. On the great Twitter machine. Oh, that's weird. I think Elon changed something overnight. There we go. Come join and listen to the morning show. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, there will be a baseball bent to this today. And rightly so. Like I said, it's opening day for baseball. I've loved baseball my entire life. And I'm somewhat fanatical about baseball, like I am fanatical about crypto, which leads us to the topic of the day. Well, not leads us to it, but to talk about the topic of the day is why drinking the crypto Kool-Aid. Why do we do this? Why do we put ourselves through this suffering? Right? Why? There's always a couple of more things to get set up here. Always a couple more things. Get the chat set up. Let's have a good show this morning. Oh, let's see. Let's get the chat features set up. Time for some cold baseball today. All right, we got the chat feature set up. Now all those people that join us, and thank you. We are live on Twitter. Yes, we are. We're on the DYOR Project's Twitter feed. We're live. We are not live on Twitch. Let's get live on Twitch. I don't really get any views on Twitch. I don't have a bikini on, or I'm not sitting in a hot tub. But I anticipate Twitch fixing their algorithm at some point here so that normal people can get on their search radar. So we're live on YouTube, Twitch, Vimeo, and Vimeo is feeding us into Facebook, Telegram, the Telegram Striking Balls Crypto Smackdown Room, into LinkedIn. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching on LinkedIn, thank you very much. In fact, I need to check in on that, make sure it's started. Let's see if it has. You never know with LinkedIn. They keep changing the rules. Thirsty Thursday is up and running. You never know with LinkedIn. It is working on LinkedIn. Welcome, everyone. It's too hard to get things started on LinkedIn. You got to press, as a viewer, you got to press 9 buttons. On Twitter, you just scroll and it starts in your feed. It's great. You get people's attention. On LinkedIn, it takes forever. All right, so we got the LinkedIn crowd going here. We'll pause that video so my system doesn't get bombed here. Let's see if we can get... Oh, I'm live in that Telegram. Live in this Telegram. It's the most I've streamed in one place, so put up with me on this Thirsty Thursday, ladies and gentlemen. But lots of news to talk about. As I say every time, there's always something going on in crypto this week. And this week would be no exception. So I've got a couple of things lined up to talk about. I think having my earpiece a mess here. As you know, many of you that have watched over the past week, whether live or on the replay, have heard me talking about the regulatory kind of situation here in the United States for crypto and digital assets, and what basically a flushing toilet the U.S. government has turned it into. They've taken a vibrant, growing industry that's taking the world by storm and turned it into a pile of mush. And in the financial markets, a pile of mush is something that can't plan for the future, has no idea if what they're doing is legal or not legal. In the past, the United States has been a helper of markets. What they do is do what government's supposed to do. They're supposed to set a level playing field for everybody. And that started a long time ago, but really came to force in the 1920s with the Antitrust Act to break apart large companies that had formed monopolies by using corporate trusts to get around the laws of the time. And now they're being used, I should say, and now the securities and regulations laws are not being used to set level playing fields anymore. They're being used as adversarial and enforcement mechanisms to stop things instead of to nurture and grow them. And that's not the purpose of government, is not to stop things that are wildly popular. What their job is in that is to help nurture them and to see that they grow efficiently and it's fair and people don't get scammed. And there are lots of rules about scamming on the books right now. There's fraud. The U.S. government can get you from fraud. They can get you for wire fraud. They can get you for mail fraud. They can get you for all sorts of laws that are on the books now. Dishonest there's all sorts of things. The state of New York, whatever the federal government doesn't get, the state of New York can get. There's no shortage. Like crypto Ponzi schemes. People are like, we want more regulation for these. A Ponzi scheme is straight illegal without crypto ever being invented. There is not a reason for more laws. What there is there's a reason for nurturing. But is that going on? Nope. To the point where there's such a bias against it. If you see the article behind me here, the FDIC FDIC chair grilled over crypto-friendly bank takeovers. The headline is not written that well. What they're meaning is that the FDIC was very quick to take over any bank that had was friendly to crypto, of which Silvergate, Signature, and to a large extent Silicon Valley Bank was. So they brought Gary Gensler in, said, let's take it. Let's see. Around $4 billion in deposits are tied to Signature Bank's crypto business, set to be returned next week amid growing scrutiny around the FDIC. FDIC Chairman Martin Grunberg fielded questions over his agency's handling of the recent banking crisis, including its takeovers of Signature and Silicon Valley Bank. Pro-crypto congressman. Can you believe this? There is a pro-crypto congressman. That's because the Republican Party has taken over the House of Representatives. Has asked whether the FDIC plans to sell the intellectual property tied to Signet, Signature's blockchain private money network utilized by major crypto firms such as Kraken. And Grunberg said, we've already sold it. The FDIC and other regulators moved to shut down Signature and Silicon Valley Bank. Just days, all three service crypto clients. This is something I hadn't thought about, and it's topics for another show. But Signature Bank's exchange ran on its proprietary software, and the FDIC came in and seized the bank and then quickly sold off its assets, including its intellectual property. So instead of trying to figure out a way to keep the bank in business, they sold it off. They sold off its parts. Probably, I'm guessing, to Bank of America, who's buying everything in the market. Isn't that interesting? I wonder who bought that. Let's see. Who bought that? I got to turn up my in-ear feed here. I hadn't considered that. That's good to note about for a future show. What happens when the government takes over your stuff? A little detailed for this morning show when I get to talking more about baseball and this crazy crypto market. So that was interesting. So basically what's finally happening is that Congress, previously what Congress was, all three houses were run by, or three kind of major institutions were run by Democrats, the president, the Senate, and the House. The oversight committees were pretty lackluster because the agencies, the regulatory agencies, were doing their bidding and following the administration's policies. So there wasn't much to oversee. Now that the Republicans are in charge of the House, they're grilling people and doing their oversight business, which is the right thing to do. It's great. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, yeah, I forgot to go over this yesterday. I don't know if you can see this on the screen here, but it says Ethereum staking tokens jump double digits as the Shanghai upgrade gets a date on it, which is good news. That the prices of these things jump for two reasons. One, the Shanghai upgrade is coming. Two, when the state of New York is claiming that Ethereum is a security and its staking is illegal. And the federal government has said, including the Commodities Futures Trading Commission and one other agency, has said that Ethereum is a commodity. And so two major regulatory boards are at odds and have different things. And the state of New York doesn't care. They're going to do what they want because they're getting headlines, and that's what they want to do. Because the head of the New York State Financial Services is for sure going to be running for political office or a higher political office in the future. So she wants the news, and she's getting it. And so we have a conundrum brewing there that will probably wind up in a Supreme Court. The SEC has two Supreme Court cases heading its way. I should say the Supreme Court has two SEC cases heading its way. But anyway, good news for Ethereum as the price goes up, even though the markets say, the regulatory climate says, hey, stinker Rooney. These other headlines, banking crisis deals another blow to fintech startup funding. I might add that's mostly in the U.S. The major banks that were providing the funding having trouble. I got a spam ad here somehow. Oh, again, I had news articles lined up here, but nope, they went away. Oh, that's an ad where my article was. Anyway, we saw some good shakeouts. Oh, here's the article. United States government remains top Bitcoin holder with 5.6 billion. I'm not sure how much Binance has. I know they have a ton, but they have a lot of Bitcoin from seizures. Even though they say this stuff is no good, they still have it, ladies and gentlemen. They still have it. Now let's take a quick check of comments, see what's going on. Let's head over to the great Twitter sphere. Let's see. Let's see what the our friends at the Blockchain North. I think this used to be called the Canadian podcast. Their tweets are a little long, but it's the news roundup of the day. They put out weekly. It's a good thing. Too much to talk about in that tweet, though. Oof. Future Flow, part of the Canadian blockchain groups that I follow lets us know Elon Musk, Steve Wozniak, and a bunch of other people are worried about the growth of AI and how it should be controlled. And of course, that went out, and everybody thinks we're on the edge of Skynet, and AI controlling everybody. But people are forking the AI things and coming up with such bad ones so quickly that the lesser-known AI groups are putting out terrible information or just putting up fake AI stuff, and people are freaking out about that, especially when AI is not politically correct. Nope. They have to program it to be politically correct. Let's see. Let's go back to FDIC. Daily Noah says that the FDIC bankers discuss bail-ins, bank runs, and market collapse. They're talking about financial crisis and their lack of faith in our banking system, how to keep the public from freaking out. That's what the FDIC is talking about. Well, that's a good point, because we... And Beth says the FDIC may pressure the U.S.'s biggest lenders to pick up a bigger than usual portion of the $23 billion bill from recent bank failures. Yeah, good luck with that. Good luck with that. Those banks are feeing the death out of us. Want to take money out of the cash machine? Oh, that's $5 now if it's not your own machine. Yeah. Oh, want to use your card internationally? Oh, we're going to charge you $5 a day for that. Yeah. They're trying their best to put fees on all of us depositors. Trying their best when crypto is free. I can't wait till stores start taking Lightning Network. I just can't wait. Food places, stores. It's gonna change everything. That's our good friend Caitlin Long. Let's go through. Thanks, Caitlin, for coming on the show today. She's not on the show today, but I can put her tweets up on the screen. Caitlin is also on Nostr. You can find her at this public address. That's how it works on Nostr. I suggest everybody go use that. It's wonderful. It is wonderful. Oh, yeah, here's what I've been talking about a couple of times in my show. Tendino puts, and you've heard me talk about bank fines. Kind of funny that Wells Fargo has paid more in fines related to harming their customers in the last 3 years, $7 billion, than all the money ever lost in crypto hacks and exploits, $6.45 billion. That's amazing. And I did have, I've mentioned this on the air before, and I have it as a segment to run on Rugged, Ruined, and Wrecked, is to talk about the fraud in crypto. Your piece is going to drive me insane. And how much people are losing. Oh, and it's outrage. Oh my gosh, $1 billion. People are getting fleeced. The banks fleeced people for about $1 trillion over the past 10 years. Yes, they did, ladies and gentlemen, and they got fined $343 billion for it. First, in many cases, they had to return money or pay the depositors, investors, shareholders, whatever the story was. But they also, like I said, over the past 10 years, had to pay $348 billion. I mean, that's just amazing. It's not just amazing, it's incredible. Dansby Swanson of the Chicago Cubs says the winning stat is the most important. You're right. Just like in investing, what's the most important statistic? It's the most important one in investing, whether it's stonks, crypto, bonds, whether you're a VC. It's that number in your checkbook at the end of the day. What was your return on investment? Did you win or did you lose? Was it green or red? Like I say, you ever know red to mean anything good in money? No. In some countries, their money is red. I don't understand this. Any accountant, any person in the financial industry at all knows red is what? Bad. Red signifies red candles on the charts. Bad. Red in your checkbook, bad. Red on the balance sheet, bad. Not good. And that's why a lot of times when balance sheets are really bad and company financials are bad, they don't use the red font. They put things in parentheses or put the minus sign because it's not so visually awful. Anyway, I digress. Well, looks like we're having the opening bell here up on the CNBC TV up there. Head back to the let's see what else has our friend Caitlin is famous for trying to start the Wyoming-based Custodia Bank with the Fed, and the Fed just bank and get membership in the Federal Reserve, and the Fed just eviscerated her. For having poor management, poor financials. The company has not started yet. Or is in the process of starting, I should say. And the bank's reasoning, the Federal Reserve Bank, is reasoning were basically that of if they are reviewing a bank that's been in business for 30 years. It's kind of odd. Caitlin says, don't blame social media for Silicon Valley's banking crisis. It was circulating amongst highly networked people first before it hit social media. Interesting. SVPs, you can't see this part, demise swirled on private VC founder networks before hitting Twitter. Of course, Twitter is the toilet. Yet here I am looking at it, the toilet of the whole internet. And things don't go there first. Every now and then, some freelance journalists will break something there first, but almost all the time, the information is swirling around somewhere else first. So good morning to those people watching on YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn. Like I say, if you're watching on YouTube and you want to multitask, switch over to Twitch and watch it there, because Twitch will allow you to multitask unless you own YouTube Premium or subscribe to YouTube Premium or YouTube TV. As you know, when you switch off the YouTube app, they shut off the audio. Used to not do that, but then they said we can make some money doing it, and they actually do not, because the subscribership did not go up because of it. So you can switch over to your Twitch app or your LinkedIn app, watch the show, or just listen to it. And you can ask questions on any platform, although I monitor the YouTube comments. Morning, Mako Stop. Thank you for joining us here this morning. Thank you very much. Mako Stop's listening in from work, like I encourage all of you to do. I encourage everybody. Mako, I don't know how long you've been lurking there, but we're just going over the news of the day before we talk about the fun stuff, which is why we do this on Thirsty Thursday. Why do we do this crypto thing? We'll get into that. Paul Rogers tweets, what seems even more disturbing about FedNow, the new payment transfer or money transfer service coming from the Fed, which will be instant, is that more and more transactions will route through them and therefore be subject to interference in the name of money laundering, terrorism, or protecting people, were crypto banks targeted to eliminate the rails that they were developing. You're damn right they were. FedNow is being developed by the Federal Reserve with a lot of money, and they've been rushing it to get it done. And so when it starts, they need people to use it. Otherwise, Congress is going to be like, why did you spend all that money? If private markets were already doing this, why does the Fed have to get involved in consumer and retail Hey, that's a good point. Why does the Fed need to get into that business? Why can't they let the private business handle that? I could see the Fed being in business to transfer money between Federal Reserve members. And there's big money that goes between those banks. I can see that. That's normal and part of their charter. But I don't think part of their charter I don't think part of their charter. Yeah, I haven't read their charter fully. I've glanced over it recently. There are the rules for them to operate, but I don't think that involves being a retail bank and servicing retail people. So maybe I don't understand how FedNow is going to work. Yeah, Mako says, when DYOR takes off, I'm going to get you a Mets jersey. It's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. You might get it for me, but it's not going to be worn. I got to tell you, I've never been a Mets fan. And now that I'm a Cubs fan, the Cubs fans have hated the Mets since 1969. 53 years. Or 54 years? 53 years. For 53 baseball seasons, we've hated the Mets because they ruined our chances in 1969. I should say the Cubs blew it in 1969. Anyway, Mako says, it's because of control. It is. And like I say, it's not always an active. It's not like the guys got around the table and said, let's control everybody. Most of these people work their jobs 9 to 5 and they want to go home and they don't get. It's not like they are the part of an organized crime family. What they want to do is make their job easier. And that's how mission creep happens in almost every government agency. It's called simply mission creep. And that is when you're doing your job every day and there's another little thing that you could do, but you don't have enough time, or it takes you 100 hours to do that. And someone says, hey, with this new technology or this new authority for us to be allowed to do something, that 100 hours will turn into 10 minutes. And you're like, oh, that's a good idea. And you're like, well, this new authority, do we really need it? Yeah, it'll save us 95% of our time. All right, well, that's a good trade-off. Okay, let's do that. Meanwhile, the trade-off is giving the federal government more power over your day-to-day transactions, and which is going to set the proletariat on fire. But, Mr. Federal Reserve Banker Man guy can go home and say, hey, I solved a problem at work today, and I'll probably get promoted for it. And that's how people get promoted in the United States government. It's called mission creep. People get promoted in business, sometimes for that, depending on the company. Big bureaucratic companies, that happens. But as we know, those companies don't last that long. But people in business get promoted for making things more efficient and taking shorter amount of time by putting less work into it, by being smarter, by employing a new technology that makes things go faster, by saving money and spending less. And the government's the opposite. They're like, well, we need another $1 billion and we can do this, but it'll save this much time. Meanwhile, everything the government does, as we know, just takes the wind out of our sails, but takes the life out of the financial markets when they're in the regulation by enforcement mode. And that's what's called mission creep. That's going on in almost every regulatory agency that I can think of. And you see it happen, and it takes an act of Congress to rein that in, or a Supreme Court decision. And getting a Supreme Court decision on that is amazingly difficult. Because it could take 10 years. You have to get two courts to disagree with each other in different jurisdictions of the United States, different federal court jurisdictions, and then the Supreme Court has to agree it, and then they have to rule for you in your favor. There's so much going against you for it. And that's happened recently with the in the United States. We have a group called the ATF, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, whose job is it to regulate firearms, tobacco, and explosives. It's a relic of an age a long time ago, but it's still around, and their mission was clearly stated by Congress to regulate firearms. And now the ATF, it said we're going to regulate everything from the firearms to parts of firearms, to the manufacturing methods, to the blueprints from them, to marketing materials around them, and all types of stuff, including the speech that certain entities can talk about them, violating all sorts of rules. And the courts went, no, that's not how this works. you can't go past your mission that you were established by Congress for. And that was also done with the EPA this year too, or last year. The EPA was saying, hey, we want to make sure the lead content in the water. I don't know what the actual thing that they were trying to do. I can't remember it. I should. But people said, that's fine, EPA, but that's not in your mandate. And the EPA was like, well, we're the EPA. We need to regulate the environment. And then when you look at their mandate from Congress, it says to regulate A, B, and C, not D. And the Supreme Court said no. And people are up in arms. Oh my God! Oh, life's over. Evil Supreme Court and the Republican appointees and blah blah blah. No, they just looked at it and said the EPA is allowed to do A, B, and C, not D. Now all Congress has to do is pass a new law to change it and say they can do D. Very simple. But did Congress do that? No. In the first place, no. Did they do it now after the Supreme Court ruling? No. So clearly Congress doesn't want it to happen, even though it might be good for the environment. Oh. So that's why a lot of these regulatory agencies go about their business for too long. Too long and grow their mission because of that. Let's find out what's happening with our friends. I was hoping Crypto or Us was live today. He is not. He is not. So we're going to head over to Crypto Lifer's channel. We'll still be on there when he comes on. Not going to be on long after the hour. I actually have a lot of real life work to do today. Let's get him ready to go here. All right, he'll be on in 18 minutes. That's good. But all week and all last week, I've been talking about various groups in the United States government, their regulatory authority, and why we are where we are with everything now. And like I said, their mission has grown because of policy from the current administration, and because there's all sorts of pressure from the president and from the previous Congress. Then you're seeing the after effects of that now. And also, frankly, like I said, it comes from mission creep. And groups that did A, B, and C before now want to do D. And unless they're authorized from Congress, they're not supposed to do it. So Caitlin continues to tweet and says, this is why the status quo won't hold. The infrastructure has atrophied and can't keep up with user expectations. Introduction of FedNow in July with 24/7, 365 availability could easily accelerate bank runs. It's a catch-22 for a banking system. It needs a lot more cash. And she's responding to Andy Blake, who says, completely agree. We have a mismatch in velocity and expectations in the banking space. Consumers expect 7 hours a day, 24 transaction access, but the policies and infrastructure rely on a multi-day turnaround model. We need a new model. And this is the topic of my show, Rugged, Ruined, and Wrecked, about Silvergate Bank, Signature, and Silicon Valley. And one of the topics of that was the speed at which crypto works. I guess this will be a good segue into the crypto section of this and why we do this. And I will hit that button. That's for you. A few people on the replay just saw an ad. That's because I just hit that button and inserted one there. I tell you, my earpiece is going to drive me nuts. The crypto markets are 24/7. 24/7. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, let me just do one more little social media thing here. Shareable link. Join the morning show, you chumbalones. YouTube or in here. Sorry about that. Needed to get some more of the word out. So crypto operates at 24/7. And what does the banking industry operate at for a majority of its customers? Yeah, 9 to 5. And for a lot of money transfers, 10 to 2. Oh, you missed the 2 p.m. wire cutoff. Sorry, we're not sending your money till tomorrow. Which in the old days was fine because the alternative was taking a sack of gold coins and getting on a steamship and going across the earth, buying some silk in the Far East and coming back. So it was fine. And then they introduced wire transfers and minds were blown. But just like the fax machine, wire transfers are old technology. That's right. They are old technology. And Caitlin Long is talking about that along with a number of people. And so, as I said, the Federal Reserve is instituting its 24/7 thing to move money around, which I'm guessing what they're saying is you'll be able to move money from one bank to another outside of banking hours. And I don't know how that would work because the banks don't like to do that. Anyway, I'm going to need to learn more about that. But if that's true, the bankers could get to work in the morning and all their money could be gone because there could be a virtual bank run overnight. I'm sure that they've thought of that. Well, I'm not sure about that, but they've probably thought about that. And I'm speaking out of my ass, as they say. Let's check the... just checking the direct messages. Sometimes I get a few DMs during these, and I got one from the Trust Wallet support group. Someone must have mistakenly posted the word wallet. Yeah. Marma. 19, she just 16 minutes ago. 16 minutes ago, she tweets, and in response, why can't I make this bigger? She tweets, token still not showing in Trust Wallet. That is the token for the DYOR project that I spawned this network off of. And it hasn't. Marma, if you're listening to me, which I don't think you are, it is because, and this is speculation on my part, it's because Binance, let's start with CZ. CZ owns Binance. Binance owns Trust Wallet. Trust Wallet owns the trademark for an IP for DYOR.net. They have a bot that puts out stuff every day. And we use the word DYOR in the industry. And they conflict. And Binance owns Trust Wallet. Binance also owns what? CoinMarketCap. That's right. And where does Trust Wallet get its pricing information? CoinMarketCap. And so we used to be on there for a long time, and our new token was on there for a week, and then they took it down. And I don't know why. But that is my speculation as to why. But here's a rule of thumb. People, when you post questions on Twitter, never use the word wallet, Trust Wallet, MetaMask, SafePal, any of the wallet names. You get a litany of scammers. In fact, I'm going to post the scammers. Click this Google form. Right, ladies and gentlemen. Sure thing. Sure thing. Let's go back to the notifications. Oh, look, we even have... Oh, is that working? Oh, gotta go to it. Yeah, I can't put that list up. Let's see. Kindly complain to... Now, see, now, well, Mara, my DMs are now filled. And notifications are filled with that just because you used one word. All right, so back to the topic at hand of talking about talking about crypto and why we do this. Crypto is 24/7. 24/7. The banking industry, traditional stock investing, like we just watched up here on CNBC a little while ago, the opening bell. The opening bell is what? The opening of the day. When is it? 9:30 in the morning. When do they close? 4:30. Options markets close at like 4. What's the difference there? A lot of hours. A lot of hours in the day to trade crypto. And crypto, just like the stock market, is worldwide. But crypto has a more diverse user base and a younger user base. Frankly, there are not a lot of kids in the Philippines and in Thailand, Indonesia especially, and Turkey, trading stocks. But they're trading crypto. They are definitely trading crypto. And they're doing it all day, every day, all week. And so the craziness, that means the craziness of crypto, when something happens on a Saturday, and all of a sudden you get the word that some project is pumping. Oh my God, XRP is pumping, Ethereum's moving, even the DeFi projects are moving. Oh my God, SafeMoon is moving, Everrise, something like that, DAO this, DAO that, blah, blah, blah is moving. This project launched, you're doing this. And everyone who's the spouse or significant other of someone that's in crypto can attest to the years 2021 and 2020 and 2021, and to a large extent, the early part of 2022. What did everyone do? All we did was this. Yeah, honey? Yeah. Everyone's phones were dying by like 11 a.m. Batteries were shot. You were looking at your wallet all the time. You were looking at the Telegram groups. You were looking for this. You were looking out for your money. You were watching it grow like crazy. You're looking at, then it was down. The typical DeFi project graph, it launches, it pumps like crazy, and then it dumps like crazy, and then it starts to go back up again, and you have hope again, and then it dumps again, and then it peters out after time. And in that period when it's pumping the first time, you're on your phone, you're like this. The life is great, and you are on it 24/7. It's crazy. You are fully in the Kool-Aid. You've drunk the Kool-Aid. I have this glass here, but that's not right. I need that big tumbler of red Kool-Aid. The Jim Jones and Guyana Kool-Aid stuff. And say, we're in with crypto. We love it. This is awesome. It's great. I can't believe I got in this. And then it dumps. And then you're looking at your phone saying, oh my God, I can't believe I got in. This is, why didn't I sell? It's unbelievable. I can't believe that I'm in this. And then it starts pumping again. And you are still looking at your phone and you're going crazy. And then it dumps on you again. And you're like, I didn't sell. And then it goes through a long period of nothing. The project that you were so involved in is doing nothing. The XRP is a good example of that. 2017, I think it was. They pumped like you can't believe. They hit their all-time highs. It was amazing. People made a ton of money, created a whole cult, the XRP group. And then it dumped, and it dumped hard. They got sued by the SEC. At the time in 2017, Bitcoin absolutely crashed from, I don't know, $1,000 to $300 or something, and took this wind out of the sails of crypto at the time. And Bitcoin, XRP went into a long period of stagnation. And then all of a sudden they started coming back, and then they dumped again. And then a long period of stagnation. Now everyone's on the XRP train again. So it's a cycle, and that keeps you hooked. And on this Thirsty Thursday, unfortunately, I'm not drinking beer today at the Wrigley Field. Hopefully later I will hit up an opening day meetup at my sister's place. But we go crazy because of the level of activity in it and the excitement it generates. For a couple of reasons. One, it's new. I mean, people say, oh, Bitcoin was invented in 2014. Even that's new. Even that is new compared to, stock market, which is really old. Investing in real estate, really old. Crypto is, the main part of crypto is only 2 or 3 years old. And people that say, yeah, I've been in DeFi now for 3 years. 2 years. I've been in it since kind of March of 2021. 2 full years. That's like a senior veteran. That's like a guy saying I have 40 years at a company. So much has happened because we talk about crypto time and how it's different than normal time. Crypto time is like time dilation in general relativity. To be honest, I don't know if it's general or special relativity, but it's time dilation. And the layman's way to describe that is the closer you are to a larger body of mass. The more mass, the faster time goes. And so, or I should say it slows down for you. And the further away from it, yeah, this is a bad example. Further away from it, the faster time goes. So if you are in the stock market, time goes slow for you because the markets close and groups announce their quarterly earnings. When? Quarterly. And people do it 30 days now too also, and they have quarterly reviews. And the news cycle fleshes out things day to day. But on crypto, the charts move second by second. The Bitcoin chart moves every second. Boop, 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 and people watch that second chart. People look at their crypto wallets 49,000 times a day. Are you looking at your stock portfolio like that? If you have a stock portfolio? No. No, most people look at their stock portfolio once a year. They get the review from their 401k provider or whatever. Like, oh, Jesus, we were only up 5% this year. It's terrible. Next year, it's like, oh, we're up 10%. Woo! We're going to retire in the Bahamas. Might have been a bad example. FTX. And so it's different in crypto. The excitement is there. It's a new industry. Things are moving. It's volatile. Whether it's moving up or down, it attracts people's interest. New products are coming out. Crypto products are coming out left and right. And if you happen to be a regulator watching this someday, the speed of innovation in crypto is something you cannot imagine in other financial industries. And it's simply because most of it's based on computer code, which is, you can iterate endlessly. And most computer code in crypto ends up being public in some form. The result of years of planning or weeks of planning or days of planning ends up as a smart contract, which most of that code is publicly available. You can fork it. You can go to someone's GitHub and fork their project. You can go to a smart contract and just copy it, change a few things, and relaunch it yourself. And then do how do people learn to code? They don't just learn to code by going to a class and saying step A, step B, step C. They look at someone's code that says, make this website behind me with a red menu. And then you pluck through it a little bit until you figure out how to make that menu blue. And you're like, oh, I've learned to code the blue. And then you learn to change the pictures. And then you learn how to do HTML5. and it just goes like that. And then you're like, hey, I want this to dynamically change based on where the user's from. And then you learn that. And then you learn database HTML programming, pulling stuff out of a database to put on the web instead of just from a file directory. That's how it works in crypto, and it happens so fast that new products come out all the time. If you sit around, if you come out with a new product, we have the latest DEX. Our DEX is awesome, ladies and gentlemen. We're so awesome. We are the shizzle. For sure, in 2 weeks, what? Someone's got a better shizzle. They've taken yours and gone, yeah, that's right. And if they can throw a little money together, they have a better DEX. Just look at the stupid meme coins. Like when the reward coins started. Our contract can reward you and pay dividends in BTC or whatever. And people are like, ooh, yeah, I'll buy Shiba dog butt in you. Because if I hold that, they'll get a little piece of the BTC. Why don't you just buy the BTC in the first place? And then the next one came out and said, oh, yeah, well, you can have your choice of BTC, Safe Moon, or our own token. People are like, oh my God, and they race to that. And then the next person iterated that and said, you get your choice of anything. Anything that's on PancakeSwap, you can choose to get your reward in. And then the days for reward tokens were over, because then it was just a race from one to the other, and nobody could last more than 2 weeks. And so when reward tokens came out, people are like, man, this is the way of investment. People literally were posting, I'm going to retire on rewards. They're looking at the rewards they're getting in week one. They're like, oh my God, I'm going to be making 40% of my money just in passive income. Then the volume the next week goes to zero, and they're like, oh, that didn't work out. And so the next iteration is even better. And now, everyone went from launching reward tokens to launching exchanges and dexes. Launch pads. We're gonna be a launch pad because we can make money doing that. And then, all you have to do is fork someone's launch pad code, and you have your own launch pad. And so basically, everyone launched their friends' tokens and tokens they were near, and then they couldn't get anyone. And then there were so many launch pads that the money was, people focused on one. Nobody could raise enough money on each and any one of them, so most of them failed. And then people said, now we're going to have a DEX. And that was hard at first. PancakeSwap, ultimate swap site. And then the code for starting a DEX came out. People forked that like crazy. I'm telling you all this because it happens so fast. And you regulators that watch this and pay attention to it, or anybody, business case, white paper people, case, business, I can't think of the right word right now. In business school cases, whatever you call it, go back and learn from real world things and say, what did we learn from that? We learned that the crypto products evolved in a year more than traditional financial projects evolved in basically a century. That being said, new projects come out in traditional financial worlds. The big houses, the big banks come up with new derivatives all the time, and they do iterate very quickly, and they come out with new projects or new products quickly also. But in the banking world, they can come up with the idea, oh, okay, let's have this derivative. But to get the approval to trade that, to sell it to clients and have people invest in it, takes a really long time. It has to go through a lot of checks and balances and a lot of policies, and the bank's got to approve it, and sometimes the government needs to approve it. But with crypto, it's like literally you can sit in your pajamas in your college dorm room or here at my desk and put out a new product, and people will put money into it. They'll be like, all right, I'll trust you on that. But of course, that's why my show Rugged, Ruined, and Wrecked It is a success, because a lot of people doing that are scammers. Or people put out bad product. They iterate, and they're like, just a good example is SafeMoon. They iterated, coming out with a new contract, doing new things. Oops, put a bug in it, money gone. Bye-bye, money. And then the other thing is a new product comes out. Hey, this is really doing it. Hey, there's a copycat. They have a little bit better. That's great. Hey, there's a new one. It's even a little bit better. Oh, rug pull. And the third iteration of it was a scammer. The internal controls that banks have obviously eliminate all that process. Let me rephrase that. Eliminate the concept of that happening. But the internal processes in banks and decision making is what led to the $347 billion in fines over the past 10 years. And $1 trillion in money taken. So while people opine about the banks being under control, they steal just as much money as the scammers do, and they do it legally, and they just get fined for it. Duquan gets Luna goes in the tank. He gets chased around the world and arrested. Banks scam the investors, like what Wells Fargo did, and I remember this. I was a Wells Fargo customer at the time. Out of the blue, I got from them a MasterCard with my name on it. And I was like, that's fun. And I was rebuilding my credit at the time. I shouldn't say rebuilding. I was younger. I was building my credit. I remember looking at it. I called my broker and I said, what is this MasterCard? I'm like, what? They just sent me a MasterCard? And it's linked to my account where I can spend my money. It's not like cash access card. It's a credit card. And it's linked to a margin account too or something, and it's already approved and ready. I was like, I don't understand. And my broker was like, just don't use it. Just do me a favor, cut it up. Don't activate it, cut it up. It's this thing here at Wells Fargo, and I don't agree with it. You can use it if you want, but it wasn't set up properly. It turns out Wells Fargo was scamming everybody, and the federal government fined them like $60 trillion. Muhammad, welcome to the stream. Welcome to our Telegram room. Thank you for joining. Ramadan Mubarak. Thank you for joining the stream. Let's see. Let's do a quick, before I continue about this, only a few minutes left in the show. Let's do a quick social media check here. Let's look at the Twitter. Our friends at Insure Ace, providing cover to all sorts of insurance products. If you're investing your money in a large project and they haven't been able to obtain corporate insurance, don't invest in them, because they get hacked, all your money's gone. And two, if they're not able to get corporate insurance, then they're not a proper corporation and they're not a proper group. If you're just spending $10 on Shiba or something else like that, that doesn't matter. But if you're investing, like actually investing, make sure that companies have insurance, or get insurance yourself. And you can do that now on the web. Maybe I'll do a show just on insurance one day and have these guys on. I should do that. Let's see what else is going on here. All right, let's check the LinkedIn. I just have a direct notification from LinkedIn. Just from one of my friends commenting. Yes, Kurt, thank you. Well, not a friend, but a LinkedIn friend. Kurt is the guy that suggested we do Tesla on the air the other day for my audit chain Pacioli report. Turned up billions of dollars in error on the Tesla. The Tesla financials. Let's see. My other notification that is that I'm live. Thank you. Thank you for that. Let's see. What else is going on? Oh, the Twitter sphere is on fire again this morning with everything crypto, of course. Of course. This is interesting. Not part of this morning's discussion. But Ledger is still obtaining funding. It's not a profitable company. Anyone know that? I didn't know that. Didn't know that at all. Yeah, hold on one second. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the significant other, Natasha, my wonderful fiance, joining hands with April in Florida this year. So I won't be on the air a certain week in April. Giving me the morning call. Anyway, Sam's on over here. We'll move over to him anyway. Interesting move in Bitcoin last night. Let's talk about that just for a second. I know everyone wants to talk about Bitcoin. And let's find it. I was playing around with the markets last night. I don't do it much. As I've expressed before, I'm not a technical analysis type person. I don't I don't follow it because you need to be a TA, technical analysis type guy. You need to pay attention to the market, seriously pay attention to the market, not just haphazardly like I do. But I'm trying to learn because it's interesting and it teaches me more things, and you learn things, and you listen to other YouTubers and how they're doing their thing. Let's get this off the air first here. And you learn what's going on in the market and how things move when news is not driving the markets. I guess I'll tell the story. I'll tell it a number of times over the next year probably. But when I was a youngster and working on the commodities trading floor in New York, our firm also had obviously was part of the New York Stock Exchange. Also, it's one of the big financial houses that no longer exists. That died. And periodically we'd have to go over there to get paperwork, exchange things, and all that. And the futures markets were kind of like the crypto markets to the stock exchange. That's a good topic. I'll talk about that another day too. But anyway, I spent some time over there on a slow day while picking up a big stack of reports because we couldn't email things to each other back then. And I asked the guy, I said, "What do you do when you're not handling this stuff for me?" Welcome, Octavian, to the DYOR project room. If you've got any comments, drop them. Maybe I'll answer them. Thanks for listening. I appreciate it. And in the floor of the stock exchange, the guy said, "Oh, I do technical analysis of what all these other traders are doing." And I was, I think, 18 at the time. And I said, "What's technical analysis?" And he said, "Oh, it's the analysis of the charts and all that." And I said, "Why do you do it?" And he said, "We do it." This is interesting to learn. He said, "We do it because we don't know on the floor of the stock exchange, there are all sorts of other market makers. Just like in crypto, there are all sorts of market makers around the world doing their business." And he said, "We don't know what's on their order books. And we don't know their trading patterns in their head. And if we can anticipate that, if we can figure it out, we can trade ahead of them. We can see what's coming, anticipate the market, and make more money doing that." And this guy, that was his job. And I was like, "Oh, that's interesting." And then I noticed on the commodities trading floor, there was a bunch of screens around and people were watching those all day. And I'm like, "What are you watching?" And he's like, "I'm watching this and this. And I'm analyzing the chart." And I said, "Well, doesn't the news drive the chart?" And he says, "Well, yes, on a macro level, the news drives the chart. When policy is changed, when big news comes, there's a reaction drives the chart. But outside of a major news-making event, the chart follows various trading patterns that are learned from all the people watching it, and they kind of obey." So yesterday, I'm doing this with Bitcoin, just watching the chart, and it formed this. And if you can see here, it dumped here and then pumped and then had a long, for some reason my picture is reversed today. Just a long consolidation move here. And this is what they call a flag is forming here. And you can already see in the chart what was going on. Look, now I'm doing the technical analysis. Sorry, lifer. I didn't draw this right. But it's the point is that the trading area is converging, and when it converges in this way, it means a breakout is coming. And it was doing it right. You can't see it that well. It was doing it right where this big pump is, right here, right there. And I said, this is the spot where it's going to pump. I've learned this from Sam and all the other people that this is a flag. And so I just bought a little Bitcoin, not enough to make a difference. So I'm going to make a trade on my little app. And not more than 10 minutes later, it has a mega pump. And I've learned that when things mega pump, you mega sell. This course ties into what's going on with the theme for today is like, why do we do this? Why do we subject ourselves to this crypto thing? Because of things like these. Things like these are fun. When you hit something like that, It's like if you play golf and play shitty all day and have on the last hole you play great, you can't wait to go play golf again. And so if you're having a terrible time in the markets, yet you just randomly hit a big pump like that and you make, 20% on that one trade and you're like, woo! Woo! I got the skills, baby. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. You may have lost the last 10 trades. You may have gotten hammered all day. But you hit a good one like that, and man, it brings the life right back into you. Oh, now Bitcoin is dumping. No, it's good. Good news is I'm not in it. Or I should say the bad news. I should have been short. Anyway, I digress. So my example from yesterday about learning about the markets and gaining a little bit more knowledge leads to dangerous situations like this. And the dangerous situation is that I got lucky. I saw an obvious spot that everyone else did, and I hit the pump. And then it immediately dumped, which tells me that if I could hear Crypto Lifer, he would say, someone's manipulating the markets. They wanted to get the shorts out, so they bought a whole bunch of Bitcoin to drive the price up. They liquidated the shorts, and then they sold it off, and they caused their competitors to lose a whole bunch of money. And why they do that, I don't know, because I haven't learned that yet. But anyway, the markets draw you in. It's like the mafia; they draw you in. When I was in my former industry that I was in for 25 years, I tried to leave it in the year 2000 to go work for an internet company. In the year 2000, what happened? All the internet companies failed. Should have joined Google back then. Oof. But I digress. After a couple of years, the old industry drew me back in, and that's what things like these pumps do. And on this Thirsty Thursday, I'm telling you, why are we in this crypto mess? Because this is what we like to do. It draws you in. You love it. Everyone loves doing it, and that's why so many people get hooked, and that's why so many people are disillusioned now in crypto. I have in the projects that I've been involved in since the early 2021, a lot of the friends that I made in it aren't in it anymore because they made a lot of money, didn't sell, and the price went way down, and now they're sitting at maybe even a loss because they invested more money when the price was up, trying to dollar cost average, but they didn't dollar cost average either enough or they did it at the wrong time, so it came back down, they lost even more money. And so they're not in the projects anymore, or they are in a substantial loss, and you don't hear from them anymore. They're disillusioned, and they've lost that spark. But we know all it takes is that little pump, and they'll be right back saying, hey, I missed you guys. I'm back. And frankly, I was like that a little bit too. Like I said, I don't check my wallet every day. But since I do this news and reporting end of it, I have a lot more fun with it. And I stay in it. But anyway, I know I've rambled on long enough for that. It is baseball season, ladies and gentlemen. The Cubs play the Milwaukee Brewers today. Let's talk about that real quick. They play the Brewers. Where'd that software program go? The Cubbies play the Brewers. At home today. Alexa, what's the temperature outside? 31 degrees. Game time is in 5 hours. No, thank you. Game time's in 5 hours. It's expected to be 36. She doesn't quiet. There we go. She's on just too long. And so it's baseball season now. And since I do a morning show, I won't be hitting a lot of the baseball shows. But maybe later on in the season, I'll do some evening shows. And we'll have the evening game on in the background as best as the copyright people will let me, which means not at all. But I can still talk about it, report on it, and interject in the middle of the game. In the middle of the game. In the middle of my show about the game. A little distracted today. I've got a lot to do. We hit a lot about the news and why things were going on. Last week when I started doing these shows, I was trying to make news more pertinent to that day. And then this week, I tried more general concepts of things in order to make it less pertinent to the day, so that the replays will be more prescient to the news and to the viewers. I should say pertinent, not prescient. And so we'll see how that goes. And my 2 weeks of doing daily shows will come to an end tomorrow on Friday. And then I go on a little travel trip, and you might see me next week, a couple of mornings, but probably not too often. I'll be remote, be up in Canada for a little bit, but not at my place. So I won't have a studio to work with. When you're remote, things don't go as well in broadcasting. But on tomorrow's program, and if you're live and watching this, great. Tomorrow come by, and from Poodle and Pet Token, we have CEO Sasha on. He's going to talk about the new products they have coming up and their involvement in a new exchange that they took over, and all of the new things they're going to be doing that are going to capture everyone's attention. I'm going to have him on for a nice talk at the beginning on the first half hour of our show, probably around, I'd say about 8:10, 8:15 in the morning Central Time, whatever that time. That's UTC -5. And then, we'll talk a little bit how tomorrow there'll be no baseball for the Cubs. We'll talk about how they did today. And then we'll talk about the next week to come, the summary of the week and the week to come next week. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank all of you for watching. As they say, not a great live, but we're working on it. Trying to get the word out to join old Striking here for the morning chat. Learn about a few things in the morning and get your day going. When I do, starting in about about June or so, May, I'll be in Eastern Time Zone for a while, and I'll be doing this at 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 Central. So I hope to get some of the pre-market guys watching, people tuning in throughout the day. So all I can say today, go Cubs!